Attention passionate Atlanta, Falcons fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC South and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Atlanta Falcons' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Atlanta Falcons fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Atlanta, FALCONS. Let's get to the news as we approach the final stretch of the NFL offseason. The buzz is getting louder, the rumors are intensifying, and the tension is palpable. Everyone's eyeing the Atlanta Falcons, a team that's been quietly building momentum, but also dealing with some tricky roster decisions. And one name in particular has been at the center of trade talks more than any other: Kirk Cousins. That's right, Kirk Cousins, the veteran quarterback who's been a staple in the league for over a decade, and interestingly enough has been linked to the Falcons in a big way. Now, why is that? Well, it's not just because of his talent, although, let's be honest, Cousins is one of the best backup quarterbacks in the NFL. It's mostly about the financial situation the Falcons find themselves in. With the cap room tight and the need to manage their resources carefully, Cousins' hefty cap hit of $5 million in each of the next 2 seasons makes him a prime candidate for a trade. And that's what has everyone talking. But it's not just about the cap space. There's a lot of strategic thinking involved. The Falcons, after all, are in a bit of a tricky spot. They've got a young quarterback, Michael Penix Jr., who's shown flashes of brilliance and potential, but he's still very much in development. Having a veteran like Cousins around could be invaluable for mentoring the young signal caller, providing stability and leadership in what is otherwise a fairly inexperienced quarterback room. Imagine the kind of guidance Cousins could give Penix, sharing his years of NFL experience, his insights on reading defenses, and his approach to handling the pressure of being a starting quarterback in the league. That kind of mentorship can't be overstated, especially for a young guy trying to find his footing in his first full season as a starter. However, the elephant in the room remains the financial aspect. The Falcons are facing a significant cap crunch and carrying a $5 million cap hit for Cousins doesn't seem sustainable, at least not without freeing up some space elsewhere. So naturally, the question arises, would they trade him? And if so, where? The rumors have been swirling, and one intriguing possibility is a division rival. Yes, a rival within the NFC South. According to Bleacher Report's Alex K., there's speculation that the Falcons could send Cousins to the New Orleans Saints in a trade deal. Now, that might sound surprising at first, but when you look at the Saints' quarterback situation, it starts to make a lot of sense. The Saints are in a bit of a bind there, with a quarterback competition ongoing between rookie Tyler Show, Spencer Rattler, and Jake Heener. And honestly, the Saints lack experience at the position, which is a huge concern just over 2 weeks away from Week 1. So, what would a trade look like? Well, Kay suggests that the Falcons could send Kirk Cousins to the Saints in exchange for a 2026 fifth-round pick. That's a relatively modest return for a player of Cousins' caliber, especially considering his experience and leadership qualities. But it's also a move that could dramatically improve the Saints' quarterback situation, giving them an experienced veteran who could potentially start right away and stabilize their offense. For Atlanta, the trade would be about clearing cap space, freeing up resources to maybe address other needs or to build for the future. It's a classic case of balancing short-term needs versus long-term planning, and honestly, it's a gamble that the Falcons might consider if they're desperate to restructure their roster before the season kicks off. Now, let's pause here for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Atlanta Falcons news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick, and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now, let's continue with the big reveal. Back to the situation at hand, the question remains, is a Kirk Cousins trade likely? As much as the rumors are heating up, the reality is that we're still quite a few weeks away from the season, and teams tend to be cautious with big roster moves this close to the start of the year. It's entirely possible that the Falcons might hold onto Cousins for now, especially if they don't find a trade partner willing to meet their valuation, or if they decide that his veteran presence could still be beneficial on the roster. After all, Cousins has been a reliable, if sometimes inconsistent, quarterback over his career, and having him as a backup isn't necessarily a bad thing if the price is right. But what about the timing? The offseason is a critical period for teams to make final roster decisions, and the Falcons are no exception. They've already made a handful of trades earlier this week, trying to fine-tune their roster and get ready for the upcoming season. If a deal with the Saints or another team were to materialize, it would likely happen in the next few days, giving the Falcons some clarity on their quarterback situation. As it stands, though, there's no concrete evidence that a trade is imminent. It's more of a possibility, an option on the table, that could be explored if the right offer comes along. Now, let's look at the bigger picture. The Falcons are in a fascinating position right now. They're coming off a season where they showed flashes of promise, especially on offense, with their dynamic playmakers and a promising young core. But they also faced inconsistency at times, especially in the quarterback position. The decision to bring Cousins in, initially seen as a move to add veteran stability, has been met with mixed reactions. Some fans believe having a veteran like Cousins can help guide the team through the transition, especially with a young quarterback like Penix Jr. learning the ropes. Others see it as a costly mistake, paying that much money for a backup, especially when that money could be better allocated to other areas of the team. And that's where the debate gets heated. Should the Falcons keep Cousins and try to build around him, or should they cut their losses and look for a different path? The truth is, there's no easy answer. The NFL is a league of tough decisions, and the Falcons are in the middle of one right now. A trade to the Saints could be a smart move if it helps them rebuild their cap room and set the stage for future success. On the other hand, holding on to Cousins might provide stability and veteran leadership that the team still needs, especially as they continue to develop Penix Jr. and integrate new offensive weapons. Now, let's talk a little about the broader context of the NFC South. This division has always been competitive, with the Saints, Buccaneers, Panthers, and Falcons all vying for supremacy. Last season, the division saw some surprises, and with changes happening on multiple teams' rosters, the landscape could shift dramatically this year. The Falcons, in particular, are gunning for a playoff spot, and every move they make now could have ripple effects throughout the division. If they manage to shed Cousins and create more cap flexibility, that could allow them to invest in key players or draft picks, bolstering their roster for the long run. At the same time, the Saints are looking to bounce back after a challenging season. Acquiring Cousins could give them a boost, especially if their rookie quarterbacks struggle early on. Having an experienced guy like Cousins could be the difference maker in close games, and that's exactly what they need to stay competitive. So, the potential trade isn't just about the Falcons and Cousins, it's about how the entire division could shake out in the coming months. And let's not forget, the NFL offseason is always full of surprises. Trades, signings, cuts, everything is on the table until the start of training camp and beyond. The Falcons, with their cap situation and roster decisions, are right in the thick of it. We've seen teams make bold moves late in the offseason before, and there's always the chance that something unexpected could happen. For now, though, it seems like the Cousins trade is more of a possibility than an imminent reality, but that could change quickly if the right opportunity presents itself. As we look ahead, the focus for Falcons fans should be on how the team continues to shape its roster, how the young players develop, especially Penix Jr., and what moves GM Terry Fontenot and head coach Arthur Smith decide to make. The NFL is a league of relentless competition, and every decision counts. Whether Cousins stays or goes, the Falcons are clearly aiming to build a team that can contend for the playoffs and maybe even make a deep run in the near future. The next few weeks will be crucial, and we'll be here to keep you updated on every twist and turn. Remember, the NFL offseason is not just about the big names or the flashy signings. It's about strategy, planning, and sometimes taking calculated risks. The Falcons are at a crossroads right now, and their choices could define the next chapter of their franchise history. Will they decide to trade Cousins, or will they keep him around as a veteran safety net? Only time will tell, but one thing is for sure: every move is watched closely by fans, analysts, and rivals alike. So, as we wrap up this deep dive into the latest Falcons news, don't forget to stay tuned, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates. The NFL offseason is always full of surprises, and the Falcons are right in the middle of it. We'll keep bringing you the latest, most accurate insights and expert analysis, because that's what true fans like you deserve. And now, Atlanta Falcons fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on the possible Cousins trade? Do you think the Falcons should go all in and make a move, or should they hold tight and see how Penix Jr. develops? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Atlanta Falcons. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with even more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Atlanta Falcons news.